I think this is a good opportunity to sort of reminisce slightly from our starting point to the end of 2021, because I have to say I'll shout out two people who have made.
Wow, we're doing a shout out already.
Oh, no,
Can you believe? Push the point, episode 17 already.
Amazing. I know.
We normally have we ease into the shout outs, but we're just going front loading the shout outs.
Front load the shout outs, man. We've got
He's thumbing it in.
There's two people.
There's
two people who have successfully made the loudest clap in human history. First one goes to Adam East. I don't know how he did it. It sounded like a car hit a lamppost. And the second one was Brendan. He literally sounded like a sonic boom, because the second it went boom, what the hell?
Sonic boom.
Yeah, bloody. I don't know how he did that. So, yeah, Tripp, your clap was loud, but those two, when I was recording, I actually wanted to save it because I was like, Jesus Christ, that is a banging smack. Anyway, so we were talking about console wars, but
should we introduce our guest? Otherwise, people are just going to hear a fourth laugh.
Oh yeah, we got.
I should say a third laugh, because Simon never laughs.
Yeah,
so
this is
like,
true.
Why is Simon laughing? So much?
Simon laughs. Yeah, we got Shingo in for the Christmas episode. I know it's by the time you may hear this, it's December. I don't care. This is going to be the last.
It'll still be Christmas, right?
I think so.
Christmas.
So we're not going to record until after Christmas or after New Year.
Yeah, we're having a little Christmas break because we have
a little
families
hiatus
and stuff that we need to do, but we're going to continue to get an episode.
I ain't got time to edit.
It's not just time to edit. It's actually getting us all in a place where we can, with families to visit and with Christmas dues and stuff. It's really hard to sit down and actually get the right mics, the right place to do it. So
we thought
we'll have a bit of a break.
How we're going to interview? We're just going to get Shin in.
Oh, I feel so special. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
what are you on about? That was all the people we picked. I was like, he's Shin.
We asked like 5 people. They all said no. They had plans. It's a Sunday night. They're like, nah, got commitments, responsibilities that I need to care for.
Shin is our
message Shin. He's just like, yep, straight away.
Shin is our podcast booty call. It's like,
and somehow we managed to get into a conversation about Xbox versus PS5.
Yeah,
and Shin is of the blasphemous opinion that the PS5 is the better console. So Hamish and I are trying to convince him otherwise.
Well, no, hang on. You're throwing me into the Xbox camp here, and I'm a man that requires a machine to do the service that I need it to do, right? And so far,
are we still talking about consoles? Or...
yeah, we're still talking about
the PC is always the winner, obviously.
PC is the winner. PC and Switch, then you can't go wrong with that combination.
Well, to be fair, you say that you do need to spend more than what you do you need to spend more money than you would for an Xbox or a PS5 just to get your computer to just be a bit better than them.
Yeah, but it's just so much better, isn't it? Right?
But you use your computer for everything else as well.
Yeah, I know.
You're not just using your computer for games.
You just got your Steam library that you've just been accumulating over the course of however many years of games that you can always just go back to. Like,
my Steam library, I just seem to buy stuff on sale and then somehow find it later. Like Death Road to Canada or The Escapists. Like all these indie games that pop up and you're like, oh, what?
That looks fun.
You just get an Xbox Game Pass and you have to spend. You just go, cool. That game's pretty sweet. I'll just play that right now.
This is what happens when we haven't got any competitive flesh and blood.
You said this last time.
Yeah, you guys ended up talking about. We got good responses for the Halo chat. Actually, to be fair, so.
That's because it's a great game.
It is a good game.
If it's good enough for Tariq over in the US, then it's good enough for me. So
I know. I misunderstood what he meant when he said, "Oh." I was grinding all the way to Onyx. I was like, yeah, I've been grinding on the Battle Pass. I was like, nah, we're two different leagues again.
Yeah, he's like top of the top on Onyx arena, ranked arena. I'm lowly gold, and Hamish won't even pluck up the courage to get involved. So
nah, I'll just play campaign mode like a scrub. Playing it on heroic though, because I'm a rude boy,
I'm still just playing Dark Souls over and over again.
He's a sucker for punishment.
So have you completed 3 yet?
Yeah.
What,
I've
and the
actually
DLC?
completed 3 twice.
What, and the DLC?
No, I've just been speedrunning the main campaign.
Weenie.
I've been trying to do every class.
What?
Starting class and trying to like play them in theme. It's actually quite fun.
What
I'm
about
not as good at
what about Bloodborne?
Dark Souls 3 as the other ones. Oh, Bloodborne, I haven't connected my PlayStation 4 up to my new TV, so I've not played that in a while.
Oh my God.
I'll probably play that next.
Yeah,
that's another fun
you've
one.
just reminded me. I need to connect up my mini SNES back up to my bedroom TV. Yeah, it's so good. I need to get back on Super Metroid. That is the peak of gaming.
There's a new one out. Anyway, I'm gonna. If you get on Bloodborne, Tripp, I'll get on Bloodborne, and we'll.
Let's all play Bloodborne together. That's
Bloodborne is the best.
Every time you say the word Bloodborne, it just makes me think virus. So
PlayStation exclusive.
Have you never played Bloodborne, Simon? Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it, but it just like from healthcare, all I can think of is hepatitis.
It's got a surprisingly, it does have a
that
kind of vibe.
I don't know. They've all got
it's
hepatitis.
Pretty much based around.
Turns them into werewolves.
Like, basically, someone had a bad blood transfusion. And,
Fear the hepatitis blood.
So there you go. I'm going to give our guest the opportunity to join in with our drinks introductions, but I'm aware that he may not be sticking to our normal drink.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have this very oaky and zesty Coke Zero from 2021. Highly recommended drink.
Very good.
That is great shit.
I know.
Any accoutrement in there? Is there
double vodka?
No, just on the rocks, Pretty.
You're drinking Coke Zero straight?
Yeah, no, I am actually just drinking it out of the can.
He's not even got it in a glass.
Jesus, he's drinking it straight out of the can. What a nutter.
I know, I am fancy like that.
Yeah.
No, when Hamish told me, I was just like, can't I just stick to my Coke Zero, which everyone who's seen me in tournaments knows my go-to drink. And also, I've been having teeth ache, so I'm on painkillers, so alcohol is a no-go right now. Sorry, guys.
So, if anyone's interested, metronidazole is the main antibiotic that you need to avoid alcohol with, and it's probably what Shin's taking for his dental abscess in waiting. But it does actually have a real physiological reaction, and it will send you crazy. So, there you go.
Wow.
Can I have some?
Thank you, Dr.
Hamish, what are you drinking?
Metronidazole. With Brooklyn Lager.
Oh, that's a good one, actually.
Oh,
I like
mate, I rang you because I was sitting there staring at all.
I wondered what that phone call was for. I had my hands full with parent duties, but
okay. Well, I was looking at all the different IPAs, going, "Oh man, I'm going to be different." And then I just went, sod it, I can't be bothered. And then I just went and brought Brooklyn Lager. So
yeah, but Brooklyn Lager is basically a craft ale of sorts. It's not really a lager. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
Yeah, it is. It is a lager.
Oh
God, I hate.
It's a very hoppy, bitter lager.
I don't know if I can even have a drink. I can't even get in to these because they've got that no. Oh, I got it. But they've got these like no. Oh, they glue it, don't they? They glue all this.
Yeah, it's to stop children getting in.
No, it's nice to stop turtles getting caught up in it.
I am neither a child or a turtle.
Yeah, you can't open it. It's child lock, isn't it?
Oh, Simon, what are you drinking?
Wow.
Oh God, here we go. He's got it must be a Rolf, right? I don't know what else comes in that.
Oh
this
no,
I think it's homemade. Yeah,
this is homebrew in my swing top bottles. So I'm just gonna see if this. It's a 750ml bottle as well. So.
Well, okay. What is it? What kind of beer?
I want to see the color of it right now.
How would you describe the beer that you're drinking, Simon?
It's a hoppy golden ale. Sorry.
Oh, it does look nice actually. It's got a nice. It's almost got a ruby glow.
Yeah.
To it.
Oh my God. I actually remember when you had that the first time and it looked a little wrong. Now it looks even more wrong.
What? It's a good way to start off a retrospective of the year.
You're going to be you're going to be steaming by the end of tomorrow.
I've got the gym at 6:00 in the morning, so good stuff.
Good luck,
mate. Right, Tripp, welcome.
So I'm not drinking beer because I've been drinking because I just came back from a Christmas dinner. with some people from my building. So I'm drinking Prosecco.
Hey.
I've been drinking Prosecco all afternoon. So I've got a lovely glass of Prosecco. Yeah.
Tripp loves an all-day brunch.
So yeah, because I've been
Which
drinking
one?
it all afternoon. So I thought, well, there's no point in switching to the beer now because I've been drinking Prosecco all day. So I'm going to keep that up.
Yeah, beer then wine, you'll feel fine. Wine then beer.
I did
you'll feel
actually.
clear.
Now I think about it, I did have half a pint of a porter mid-meal because someone ordered one and it did look very tasty. But apart from that, I've only drunk Prosecco. So I'm going to stick with that. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Merry Christmas.
Wild card lives up to his name.
Out my Lannister.
Happy holidays, all.
Mm.
Is that an Aston Villa?
No, it's
Stein?
Lannister.
Oh.
Lannisters famously big fans of the Villa.
Well,
so,
it's weird. I think my brother my brother brought me this last year, and I've only just cracked it open. But he doesn't listen to the podcast, so I don't care.
Right, Simon, what are we doing today on this very special 17th episode of...
Very special 17th episode. We are going to do a bit of a recap of 2021 and look back on the good times and maybe the not so good times. We're going to look ahead to 2022 and all that entails, with a farewell to Welcome to Wraith, with Everfest on the horizon, and with apparently victory for the Push to Point lobbying segment, because exactly what we asked for last podcast is more high-level events in the EU, and now, lo and behold, LSS listen and announce ProQuest. So
you're welcome.
You can thank us.
Yeah, you can thank us. And the best way to thank us is to join our Patreon.
And to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Follow us on Spotify and like us and subscribe on
We'll continue to lobby in your favour.
And you know what? If we have time, we might finish off with an end of 2021 edition of What's Hot and What's Not.
Oh, yeah.
My God, a classic. I've not thought about what is hot or what is not.
Well, now we've got Shin on as well. We can get him to chip in. So
see, I was actually so flattered to be the last minute invite that I actually prepared all my answers for what's hot and what's not. I didn't realize. I didn't realize that Simon was the only one who was prepared here. But I can see the
we're always prepared. We're here on time, right? That's all we're. That's all.
That is very true.
Is to be here, and then we make it up on the fly. Oh, that's pretty good.
Good.
Well, we'll get to that at the end,
Simon.
But for now,
right.
we're going to
start
with...
I want to take you back, guys. I want to take you back to the beginning of 2021. The UK is in tier 4, like special measures, lockdown.
Good times.
Welcome to Wraith and Crucible of War and Arcane Rising had only been all released in the UK in November, December 2020. So the game was really still in its infancy, and yet there are some of us here that were just absolutely smashing online events, mentioning no names, Sharif, to try and get more XP. And it feels like such a long time ago, but
it does.
12 months ago, we were all sitting in rooms. We'd never met each other in the flesh, and we were absolutely grinding online armories week to week, month to month, and we didn't actually really know when that was going to end.
Mm-hmm. No, we didn't, and we were desperate to play more tournaments. I think actually I was looking at my tournaments, and tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of possibly the most stacked starter deck tournament of Flesh and Blood's history, with like me, Sharif, Simon, Dante, and a few other people who are now very much top level players of the game. Mm-hmm. Not talking about myself, but and that was kind of like what we were doing. We'd very much just started playing the game at the end of 2020, and 2021 was very much like we were playing Blitz all the time, and that was what was offered online, and we were basically doing that. I mean, we were playing nearly 2-3 times a week regularly, would you guys say?
Well, you and I, Tripp, were playing Fridays and Saturdays or plus or minus Sundays, and Shin was playing 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Close to. I think I never found events for Mondays, but the event that Tripp mentioned is one I actually hold really dear because it was organized by you and BigMedSi, and then there was Tripp, Dante, Dyson, and Sam Ewan as well. And I remember it was my first time playing the game. I had like cards, I had seen the cards, read them, really wanted to play. Finally found an event in the UK, and Sam was on Bravo and just went to destroy me completely. And yeah, it was just my first dabble into Flesh and Blood. And it's very interesting the fact that at the end of the day, there's so many players that we currently know that are our friends that were in that event. And I think it's because online events were just picking up. And as you said, we were all in lockdown, and you were one of the first to try to organize something in the UK. So as always, thanks for
great.
that, Si.
It was interesting because James and I thought we would organise something for the local scene and try and get a UK starter event, and then suddenly we've got Americans and Canadians, and because there were so few events in December, January time, people were just joining, and that was also when I started getting like feelers out locally. So I got in touch with my local game stores in Nottingham and Derby, and they both got on board, and fast forward to like next year and they're running ProQuest events. So I think it's been a long journey. The thing to mention here, and Hamish has gone silent, partly because we're talking about Blitz, but also because I don't think I saw Hamish at an online Blitz event until like Skirmish.
Yep.
Is that fair to say? You did one Skirmish season 1.
Nah, I couldn't be bothered with all that shit. I was too busy. I did do an online event with Kingdom Gaming. That's how I first met you, Simon.
Yeah, we started playing in the first UK league. That's what we did.
Yeah,
that was also set up by me and James.
You were my first ever game
online.
Yeah. Very first ever game online was against you, and
I was very salty.
Playing Katsu. Yeah, you were playing Katsu, and I was playing Viscerai. And I beat you, and I thought, oh mate, this guy sucks. He lost to Viscerai. This guy, and then you got me back.
Yeah, I did get you back.
You did, and I was a bit pissed off about that.
In the semis, we started a bit of a rivalry early, and
I was like, nah, I'm gonna have this guy. And then we saw again, then we met up again in the second league, and it was like, okay, it's 1-1, and then you.
I think you brought Brute to that. You didn't bring Viscerai to the second league. You brought Reinhardt. But I think that was interesting. We'd never met before this year, and I could tell very early on that you had been very keen on Classic Constructed, and you like brewing your own decks. Yeah. And lo and behold, that's a lot of what we talk about on the podcast. So. The online events, the COVID lockdown really laid the foundations for where all 4 of us are now.
And it established an international feel to Flesh and Blood, which I think still remains to this day. Like, I remember when we were playing these online events and we started playing in this at Alara Games, which I think...
Oh, the Swedish guys. They're great, yeah.
And this, if you're picking up the game, or you picked it up recently, this was the level that we were resorting to, is that like a weekly online event at a Swedish game store started, and everyone flocked over, and they were getting really strong players from all across the world just desperate to play. And I think part of it was obviously people wanted to get that 1000 XP for their country, but I think for me and Simon, like, we obviously, like, Shin was like away by this point, and we were like, okay, we're not going to catch it, but we're still playing.
I don't know. I think it was February when Shin caught me, because I had a bit of a head start, and Sharif caught me in about February. And I remember saying to my wife at the time, like, I've got an option. I can either go for this or not. And she said, well, what does it involve? And I was like, well, probably playing 4 or 5 events a week, and for the next sort of 2 months. And she looked at me as if I was absolutely crazy. Yeah. And she said,
how about no?
She said, in no uncertain terms, that is not happening. Give up now. And I said, okay. And for the sake of my life, I did not compete with Shin after he overtook me in February 2021.
So Shin, just so you know, your involvement in this game caused slight friction in Simon's marital life, because here you come in and go, no, I'm going to beat you, and you're like, no, please. She's like, no, I hate you. And Shin's like, ah.
The thing people don't necessarily realize is that Sai did have a big head start, or a small head start actually in retrospect. Felt big when we started. But I was talking to him about it as it was happening, and he was being very kind and nice and encouraging. And it was kind of, it must have felt very bittersweet for him. So
Simon's beating himself up so hard, going, yeah, well done. Well done.
But it's one of those things, like, you never, like, 1,000 XP, if it was normal times, let's say, like, if it was an armory or two every week, like, we'd still be struggling to get to 1,000 XP. That's a lot of armory events if they're 3 rounds.
And
yeah, exactly. Well, you're in London, so you're picking up.
Well, there was the difference is that I'm able to travel, and being in London makes there's a lot of options available for me.
Yeah.
But I think I want to go back to just like talking about the feel of the game at that time, and it was very much like, obviously there was this rivalry about reaching 1,000 XP, but I think that's overstating.
Yeah, and it
makes it sound like we were trying to
even if
each other, which we weren't. We were just playing the game because of joy of the game.
Even if you go back to those Alara events, right? The people that were, so apart from Yumi and Shin, Tripp, there were people like Rob Seigel, Davis King, Town Number 9, from the States, Sam Ewan, Dante from Canada. And then, like, there was a host of names that you would recognise from top 8s in nationals all around the world.
I remember playing against the guy who just won the Italian nationals with Kano. I remember playing Kano at Alara for the first time as well. It was just like, you see these people pop up all the time.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, they're still playing, and they got their first games.
Brendan Patrick as well, Fiddy was there. And you're right. I think the fact that everyone was in COVID lockdown really lent to that, like, small village feel from people that were actually hundreds of thousands miles apart, you know?
Yeah, the community, usually you establish a community around whatever your local scene really is. That's how standard typical games from previous times have always worked on. And that's something I've always known from running my club for like 12 years. When a game is born, your local community, and basically it would have been me in the club, and whoever would have been playing, that would have been our community. And then I would have found you guys through Road to National events and so on and so forth. And then you hear about these names through Facebook, what Dante and everyone is doing, right? But because of COVID, it sort of just went, well, there is no local stuff. The local thing is actually all these dudes rocking up online. And that is the small community that has been born. But like you said, it's just a global reach rather than whatever your local store might have been. So it's just came like really differently, if that makes sense. It's but at the same time, like I think it's weirdly more positive. It's kind of thrown the group, this worldwide small group. Like you don't normally find people in Canada and Switzerland and Italy. You don't just establish relationships from that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's just, these are just dudes that you hear winning, and then you might just chat later on. But the fact that your local armory was a Swedish league thing is like, what? That's just not normal. Like,
I want to get on the shout out train now, because there's a monthly couple of events that still go on now online on webcam, and that is Signaris. They run they're a Canadian group, and Arthur runs this out of Western Canada in Alberta, and he runs like long form events where you play people in a 3-day window, and the event lasts a month. He runs Blitz and CC, and they've been going on since February, March time earlier this year, and they're still going, and it's a great way. There are people that play from Canada, me from the UK. There's people from Singapore, Hong Kong. Like, it's a really good way of just ticking over, trying new stuff. It's not super competitive. Most of the pricing is random. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Arthur because he runs great events, and check it out. He's a really nice guy.
Here's a thing. Do these you know how we were talking about how this whole thing started? Does that happen now? You know, are these online armory events still, you know, I'm sure they're still there.
Shin still plays in some.
Yeah, there are a lot fewer, right? And there's like a lot less people in them. So I actually was in another event right now that was CC, and there were 5 people. And before, when you only had online events, it would have been like 15, maybe 20.
Yeah.
But I think that's actually really good, because I think we had this foundation in playing online, but it almost turned us into ambassadors for the game. So we went away from this online environment where we were playing all the time. We went out into the community and really pushed to play in real life. Like, I don't think I played my first real life tournament until May, but then I was just going to as many stores as I could to try and play the game and show stores that there's a market for the game and that people want to play it, help people out, show them, like, talk about the game and all that kind of stuff. And as much as I really enjoyed playing online, I think it's now good for the game that we've established our local communities, like Hamish was saying, and started to build a relationship with a real life store that we go to regularly and demonstrate that there's a big market for the game, because they might not be able to see it online.
Yeah,
and I've quite liked that, because it means that when you go to a Flesh and Blood tournament, or when you used to go to an early Flesh and Blood tournament, it wouldn't just be no one really understanding the game. You'd have people that you could chat to who've been playing for a while, who could explain the rules, who could talk about strategy, and that kind of added a lot of additional depth to the game. And I know it's sad now that there's not. I mean, a lot of people really enjoyed playing online. Personally, I played so much online, and now I just can't stand it. Like, playing in real life is just so much more enjoyable. I absolutely love it. I love traveling for events. I love playing in events. I love playing with real cards. And I can't, doing all the webcam stuff.
Yeah, the webcam
just
stuff
pisses me off.
Oh,
so
I couldn't stand it when it first was being introduced, because I played so much of it in a physical space when things were a lot more calmer with, like, my brother and some of the other guys in my local community. I'm quite lucky. I've got a very close network of guys that I can play with, like, you know. And then when they said, "Oh, it's webcam time," I was like, "No, it's not webcam time for me, mate." I really, really just do not. But I could see why it needed to happen, but it just I think my brother was so against it once. I think he bought like a couple of these deck boxes here, and like stacked 3 or 4 of them up. Just put his phone just on top of it, just, you know, and it was the worst thing I've ever seen. But he just said, "I just don't care. I'm just gonna do it." And I think he even writ on bits of paper as well. I was like, Jesus Christ, how could anyone manage this? And he was like, "It's just, I want this to be physical, as you know."
But there will always be that contingent of the community that don't really get involved until it is physical. And I know your brother was one of them, and I didn't really meet Ferg until the Road to National season. And he promptly wiped the floor with me in the first game we played, and then I got him back in the second game we played. But there were a group of people that have played the game but didn't get involved in the online community until after lockdown had finished and they could get out and play in their local stores. And I think that's important to remember as well. Like, some people,
I was close to being one of them, to be fair.
You were pretty close to being one of them, apart from the fact that you were Gobby and Matt liked to get out on the Discord every now and then. What did I say that?
You don't need to spell facts.
Yeah,
but
so
I was definitely on the train of just don't. I was TTS, all game for that. You know, I was really game for TTS, but I understand why they didn't want to be that thing.
Mm-hmm. But don't forget, you were also part of the first UK Flesh and Blood podcast. So,
oh yeah, Kingdom. If it wasn't for Kingdom Gaming,
we wouldn't be here.
We wouldn't know. But to be fair, if I suppose really, I'll blow my own little trumpet there. I don't think I kicked
doesn't take
off,
much.
No, I kicked off.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Fuck off, man. I did kick off Kingdom Gaming podcast.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, after that, it brought us here, and then I just found, I knew I was going to get Simon on because of our small little rivalry. I don't know how we just started chatting. We just did. And then, I just remember, I listened back to episode 1 and I remember sitting there thinking, I interviewed Tripp for Kingdom Gaming. I thought, this guy's actually got a bit of charisma about him. He's pretty good at talking about this sort of stuff. I don't know how, but he's pretty good. Let's get Tripp on. And then I discovered you do Fyendal's library. I was like, shit, no wonder he's pretty good.
See, I'm feeling
me, everyone. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have any of this shit. So, I'm joking.
I'm feeling insulted because I'm pretty sure you also interviewed me for Kingdom Gaming. So.
Oh, I did. You're all right.
So Shingo, I was going to ask you, because we were chatting about, playing in online and in IRL, and I don't want to be presumptuous, but I imagine the scene in Scotland is not quite as busy. I mean, you have some really solid stores, but obviously it's a big place.
How dare you, Dan?
To get around. How have you found the changeover for yourself from online mostly to IRL mostly?
So no, that's really hitting the nail on the head. Part of the reason I did the grind to 1000 XP online is because I knew that the moment things went live and we were allowed to play in stores, I wasn't going to be able to join nearly as many events as the London crowd specifically.
That's fair.
And so I kind of had to hunt for that. And now that online doesn't happen anymore, I find myself having one local armory that I do weekly, right? That's within where I live, and that's really fun. I really like that crowd. But then there's a smaller crowd where we're growing one member at a time every other month, and it's quite nice to see that scene grow.
That's
but
good.
It doesn't allow me to practice a lot, right? And that's why I found myself gravitating towards online events again, is to try to get those reps when I can, because that's the other thing, is a lot of the in-person events tend to be on the same days, right? So Friday evening is the one I attend, and then there's one in Edinburgh on Sunday morning that I could go to, but normally I'm doing real life stuff on Sunday where you can't do all the events, and online just gaps that bridge where I can do events at random hours of the day when I have no other responsibility to do, right? And I think that's the appeal. I completely agree with you guys, though. I prefer playing in person. I think one of my favorite memory is playing each of you except Dan so far in person, even though...
We managed to dodge each other quite successfully.
And, it's a bit of a funny moment, right?
My favorite was Nat's, Shin. Mine and your game.
I know.
Nat's
I was going to say, you preferred the game that you won, but we played a couple of times now, right? And Sai was a very special game because I've played him in the finals of Road to Nats, and it was our first game in person. And I thought something similar was going to happen with Dan at Nats, but we still haven't met each other in person, even though, played against each other in person.
We've met each other, but we've not played. It's impressive because we actually have been to quite a few tournaments together now as well. Yeah.
But
it'll come.
Let's just jump in there then, Shin. The Road to National season. So we're moving ahead to sort of July, August, September time now. This year, Road to Nationals was our first real in-person, large-scale event.
Yep.
How did you find that, especially traveling from Scotland?
Not as bad as I expected when I was preparing for it, right? Because you need to realize we were coming out of COVID. right? Or out of lockdowns, rather, because obviously COVID is still happening. We were coming out of lockdowns, and Scotland and England took a slightly different approach, right? Scotland was a bit more careful and keep wearing masks indoors. And what is now happening in England, so level 2 restrictions.
Yeah, Plan B.
Plan B, right? So that was always the norm in Scotland. So when I was going traveling, I wasn't feeling too comfortable, and I had some concerns about just health because I wasn't able to get my second dose of vaccine until pretty late because I'm like right at the edge of that age group. Sorry, I'm smiling because I know that most people in this call are older than me, except Dan.
It's all right. I work in healthcare. I've been fully vaccinated since February.
I work in healthcare. I work in adult social care.
I was slightly concerned, and obviously, then you take the fact that I had playing online and a lot of blitz and very little CC. I was actually very concerned that I was going to completely flop in CC, and then I ended up going.
And what really happened, Shin? What actually happened?
What actually happened is that Dorinthia is a great deck. But she did play the field in that I ended up playing a lot of people that, because they hadn't done the online scene and had joined after Monarch, did not know how to play against Dorinthia. Right?
I knew it. Yeah. I knew
it. So I just want to jump in here. I just want to jump in here
and
because
I punished you too.
Shin is super modest and super deferential whenever talking about his three Road to Nationals wins with Dorinthia. He's always says, "Oh well, I didn't run into any Prism, and I didn't do this, and I didn't play the hard bit." And fine, there are some random elements in that there, but
Simon, you just confirming he had an easy streak.
No, winning 3 Road to Nationals events is no mean feat. Like he knows the game, and he's one of the best players in the UK.
Big time.
And he's just so modest and travels down from Scotland, kicks ass, and then goes home. But I completely agree with what he's saying. Like, people who didn't get the reps in against early heroes, Bravo, Dorinthia, and Katsu, struggled slightly in the Road to National season. Taking into account that, again, most people that played in Road to Nationals were either stalwarts from last year like us, or had got in at Monarch in May and had 2 months to practice. So there was a real divide between, and I think we're just about getting over this as a community. There was a bit of a divide between the air quotes flesh and blood players and the people coming across from other card games in the May-June time, like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, that had seen this game taking off and thought, I want a piece of the competitive play. And maybe in the Road to National season they hadn't necessarily got a grip on the game yet. They'd sort of done reasonably well and maybe got 500
it was evident the people that were playing it longer were the ones that were getting the more results.
And I think we're now getting over that divide of other game players that have come in versus flesh and blood players. I think now we're all flesh and blood players.
Yeah. I think I agree with what Shin was saying. These early concerns about going into Classic Constructed and just thinking. I remember chatting with Kate and basically saying to her, and she was like, "Why are you so worried? You've been playing this game for like however many months." It's like, well, I've never played Classic Constructed. It's a completely different game.
It's like saying, "Oh, what are you on about? You've been jogging for years." This is a sprinting competition now. It's not jogging anymore.
And the thing was what I quickly realised is what gave me the edge, because I did reasonably well. And a lot of the wins I got were because I knew what the hero on the other side of the table was trying to do.
Yeah.
Like and that was so key to winning the game, was not necessarily knowing the player, but knowing that hero. What are they? I know what the hero wants to do, because in Blitz it's very different in Blitz, but you still have a fundamental understanding of what the cards do, what's going to happen. Like there's very simple things that you just pick up, but if you haven't got the reps from any format, you're just not going to know it. And just understanding cards and stuff. And I quickly realized that actually knowing heroes ended up being really, really valuable, even if I didn't have much classic constructed experience, because I'm like, well, I know what they're trying to do, so I'm just going to do. I even know, can I do that better, and and beat them that way, or how can I stop them doing what they want to do? And then that was basically how I went into those tournaments. And I'm sure it was the same for you, Shingo, with a big Blitz background, trying to adapt into Classic Constructed, and just thinking, well, I understand my deck, I guess, but it's more about knowing what my opponent is trying to achieve in this game, and how can I disrupt that, or how can I do what I want to do first. And it was a really interesting, and I have to say, we'll move on from Road to Nationals, but the Road to Nationals season, I think, just a fantastic season of competitive play. And I think it was that season that made me realize that I wanted to play this game competitively as much as I can. Like, before that, I was enjoying the game, really enjoying Blitz, really addicted to the game. But like,
those events took it to a new level, right?
Yeah. Wow, there are a lot of people who are really good at trading card games and who I can only see getting better, and I need to play more, test more.
Yeah. See, I find it really funny that you had this conversation with Kate, because my girlfriend would hear, like, pick up random things from the game just listening to me play online, right? So she picked up Dory, Ira, Kodachi for 2, and those fun things. And I would just, like, talk to her about, should I take Dory or should I take Katsu? And she wouldn't really know what I'm talking about, but it would just be good to hear those thoughts about Blitz versus CC. And yeah, so it was a very interesting transition from Blitz to CC. And like you said, it was the reps did carry us a long way. And it was interesting to discover the depth of CC, which I think Hamish was a big, seller for CC from the start.
Yeah, I came in early on that point, but purely because I'm stubborn. And when I first started this up, I was like, show me the game, show me the real game. I don't want to hear the intro game. I don't want to hear the side games. I don't want to, all that shit. I even put draft in there like a fool. I even put draft into that side boat. Okay, nah, it's not the real game. I want to play CC, and that was it. And me and my brother are like, oh, do you want to do Blitz? And I was like, what? Is it the real thing? Nah, no, fuck that, man. I'm playing CC. I want to know the real thing. So that did help. That did help. I think when everyone was piling in to CC during the Road to Nationals thing, initially I thought, I've got an edge. But 2 months in, you could tell that all of you guys were starting to put the things that you probably had more knowledge than I did in Blitz, in reps and composure. But when you're actually playing, when you're playing against the other opponent, and then you started to get your CC things down, and then when it got to the Road to Nationals bit, I was severely pissed off how good you got. But you guys Hamish, got so good, and I was like, damn, I was playing Bolton though.
You also have a pathological aversion to playing a meta deck, and you chose to roll with Bolton throughout Road to National seasons, like. I had a huge amount of Blitz experience on Ira. I took Katsu in CC. Shin played Dory almost exclusively in Blitz with a bit of Ira chucked in, and then played Dory in CC. And Dan played Ninja in Blitz, and then took a meta deck which was super powerful in CC. So you were the only one who tried, and like, let's not beat around the bush. You put so much time and effort into that Bolton deck, and it was about as good as Bolton deck as anyone could make. You pushed everyone that you played on that deck to the end.
I wish I never played any of you.
And then, it was Bolton.
It was Bolton. At the end of the day, the Road to Nationals put me as far as I could go with it. But I think everyone, it sort of. I agree with Dan Tripp. That Road to Nationals season, I think, was the coming together. It was the coming together season of all the work and all the chats that we had in the UK as a community of guys. That was for the first time ever just going, hey, let's meet up, let's
but also it's the first time we ever met in person.
I know. I think it was actually a skirmish season 2, I believe.
Or even the Boards and Swords event, Winner Box event.
Was that the first time?
Before the Road to Nuts, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't want to
That was the first time I saw you, Simon. And I don't know.
Well, it wasn't the first time we saw each other
No,
because we didn't realise that we played in an event in October 2020.
Oh, you came all the way down to Northampton and you didn't have a mustache.
No, I had a beard at the time.
Yeah.
No, I did have a mustache. It was just under a mask.
Oh, was it? All right. And I was sitting there still strutting my shit, pretending, I was just being me, basically.
But it's funny what you say, Shin, because my daughter still, if she sees a picture of a Kodachi, she still says, Kodachi for one? Because the amount of time she spent sitting on my lap while I was playing webcam games or TTS games, and the same with my little boy, like, Kodachi for one, Kodachi for two.
So like, this is terrible podcasting, but for my Father's Day, my son
that's amazing.
Did a Flesh and Blood card, which is it basically took a Viscerai card and copied it, and he's even done the back as well to make it look like a Flesh and Cut. And he said, "Happy really Father's Day. This card is said worth £1 million. Love, Logan."
Not far off for a Flesh and Blood card.
It's Viscerai, so I told him it's probably worth 100 pennies. So.
So I just wanted to jump in very quickly on the other thing that was the benefit of having this community that we built up was that when you went to events and you traveled to events, you actually had people there who you knew. And you've talked about this before, Hamish and Simon, is just having someone to talk to when things don't go well is really valuable to stop you from tilting.
Yep.
Like if you're just there and you're just letting all that negative energy fester inside of you. No, you don't. If you don't know anyone, if you don't have friends that you can chat to and express it and get some thoughts on, like, feedback and thoughts, it's really tricky. And we've never had to really worry about that because we just go to events and it's like, oh well, Thingy's here and Jason's here and Dyson's here, and you can just be like, oh, I messed up, and then you just chat about it, and then you get over it and you move on. And that is so valuable for doing well in a tournament, is having that group of support group.
Can I throw a question to you guys, and maybe this is also a thing as well for the community to put a comment on over YouTube? There you go.
Do that again. Fucking awful. Talking to the audience.
The satisfaction on his face when that came out was
I was sitting there doing it and I was like, oh, it's coming, here we go. Right, no.
He forgot his question.
It's what we have to deal with.
What was one of the moments when you met one of us, not one of us, sorry. When you met up in real life, what was one of these, like, most, one of the best moments that you've had in playing Flesh and Blood? I've got a couple, and I've got one of them for each of one of you guys. So that's just me. But throw your comment in. One of the best moments that's not playing a game. It's actually outside of the game, but you're in the tournament scene, right? I'll throw one, and it's probably because it's a little bit more recent. But every time I think back to Nationals, I cannot have this moment of thinking how cool Shin was. And I don't know why, right? But it was when we were talking about draft. Draft pack construction.
Sorry, I just remembered the moment he's talking about. I'm also very surprised that this moment marked him so much, but he brings it up a lot.
I loved it. Because he really didn't need to do this at all. Because we were about to start our top 20, the top 24 draft. And I wasn't super nervous because I did reasonably well in draft, and I'm feeling like I could do fairly well. But then Jim just went, "Hey, do you know about draft, the pack construction?" And I went, "No, I'm still hungover." And he just went, "Come with me." And he just went he went over to Living Realms and went, "I'll have 2 packs." And then the first edition. Were they first edition, Shin, or
they were?
No, they were first edition. And he went, "Oh, I'll have 2." And he went, "Okay, £10." I went, "Cool." And he sat down and he showed me it, and I was like, "Oh, this is nuts." I had no idea about any of this. And he was like, "Yeah," and he was really just breaking down about this pack construction, how it all works, the theory behind it, because something that you had a chat with Dante about. And I was like, this is great. I mean, I don't know why you're telling me this because I'm on your pod, but dude, this is amazing. He went, cool. He picked up all the cards and flung them in the bin. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck, man? This is first edition. He went, I don't give a shit about them. I was like, man, this guy's baller. I couldn't believe it.
What makes me really laugh, and this is the first time I've heard about this moment, is that for the 2 months between Nationals and Road to Nationals ending, Hamish and I practiced a lot of draft online.
Yeah, I know, but we were doing it online.
And how did you not have any clue how the packs were made?
No idea. I didn't. There was not the things that I needed to, because I wasn't so focused about working out what the table was doing. Although the funny thing is, the best thing about that, Shin sat down and told me about pack construction, and then the audacity of the guy handed me a Pulse of Eisenloft during the drafting bit. I was like,
it was
what?
Just to make it clear, it was very early in the picking process, and it felt like a hard commit.
It was pack 2.
No, it wasn't.
Pack 1.
It was pack 1 because you were on my left, so I was passing to you.
It was pick 2. Honestly, because I remember this vividly. Pack 1.
You're arguing the same point. Yeah. This is the first pack, first pick. Yeah.
Yeah. So I picked Ball Lightning red. I was like, okay, this is the best one in my pack. And then you handed it over to me and went, Pulse of Eisenloft. I was like, what? This guy's insane. I just took that straight away and it won me 2 games.
I can't remember what I picked, but we all know I'm not the best.
I have no idea what you would have picked over that.
I'm not the best drafter, and I was, unlike you,
I knew all the cards.
I was really
concerned.
How the
deck construction works.
The only reason I knew all the cards is because I looked up a YouTube video the night before to try and get me to sleep. Right?
I remember that. It was brilliant. I don't know why I found that moment so treasurable, because I think it was just something about that whole experience of where we just got. I think it was just one of the very few times it was just me and you got to just hang out and just because I think Simon just walked off and strutting around in his Hawaiian top and shorts and needs to get in the zone, and then Tripp is just being, Tripp, like, I'm going to be real cool, Orlando Bloom, I'm getting into the mode, and then Shin's just like me, he's just sort of
wandering around.
Yeah, but Shin's just like,
I'm just chatting with everybody.
You guys have mentioned that Road to Nationals was like the key to getting you involved in competitive play, like the realization that this is where you want it to be. And I think I twigged earlier that I wanted to be involved in competitive play, and I wanted to continue.
What's your
to push
moment,
myself,
Simon? I want to know your moment.
Well, I don't think people realize. Like, I had a lot of people come up to me at Nats and say, "Are you feeling all right?" Like the Friday night and the Saturday morning, I looked like trash.
Yeah,
because I'm new to competitive card gaming. This was the first 2-day competitive card gaming event I'd ever been to. It was the highest level I've played at in this game, and Friday night I felt like I was coming down with something, right? I felt like I was shivering, I was cold, I couldn't sleep, I was hot, then I was cold, I was hot, then I was cold, I was waking up every hour. I just did not sleep. And Saturday morning I felt like garbage. And a lot of people came up to me to say, like, are you doing all right? And I was like, yeah. I had to go to the Tesco's and buy some
I remember
cold and flu remedy or something, and I just ingested as much as I could, and
drugs.
Yeah, and funnily enough, I got paired with Jason Hamatron, who was my deck building partner. First round, we'd put so much effort into building this deck, and once I sat down and played the first game, I, like you say, that zone, right, Hamish, and I hit it. I hit my stride, and I was just like, what was I worried about? But I just felt like garbage and couldn't put my finger on it until I got over it. And then I came back and we did the Push the Point live on the Sunday morning.
That was great.
And it was absolutely awesome because it really just took my mind off everything else. Yeah, it was a really late start for the draft pod on the Sunday morning, so it was good to have something to fill that gap. The moment that I remember most from Nationals
Well, it doesn't have to be nationals.
No. But I'm just going to say the moment that I remember most was not good for me, and Hamish, you'll remember it too, because we sat down in the first draft, and I was 1-1. Hamish was 1-1 in the first draft.
Oh no! Don't talk about this moment. That was one of my lows.
And I sat down. I sat down with my bride deck, which I thought was all right, and I'd just come off a very narrow loss to someone else who ended up in top 8. Aaron.
Yeah.
And I sat down against another Oldham with my Briar deck, and I basically had nothing to do for 4 turns because Hamish dominated attacks for 4 turns in a row, finished me 5 turns in a row, and completely just destroyed me. I had nothing to do. I was discarding cards.
This is going to be a memorable moment.
It is memorable.
Oh my god.
And I just walked off, and he was like, the look on my face must have been priceless because Hamish was like, "Are you all right? Do you want to talk about it?"
No. I remember this. I turned around and said, "Simon," and he went, "Mm-hmm." I went, and I said, "I'm going to go for a vape. Do you want to come with and have a chat?" And you just went, "No." So
I just walked off.
And then I
wasn't being salty.
I was just... No, you were, fucking dude. I looked at James and went, "Oh shit!" Match was so bad. It was so emotional. It was so bad. Like when I beat you, I was not happy. I was happy. I was like, "Oh wow, this is like a hollow victory." Of like, I felt like I've just hurt a friend, but we got over it. Whatever. And then when I beat Dyson, I think a couple of people saw me. I almost burst into tears. I don't know why.
That was tight. And I did the same to Shin later on as well.
You got in, and I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "Get the fuck away from me!" Seriously, I don't want to drag you guys out.
Like, well, Barry asked me if I wanted to be on stream for the game where I played Shin, and it was basically win and in. But we both ended up going through. It was fine. But again, I refused because I can't, like, the baggage of playing Shin on stream for a win and in game, which was a Briar versus Lexi matchup, and I'm sorry I brutalized you, Shin. But I did, yeah, it was horrible. But again, it's like, it's funny how we tie those emotions to those games, and Nationals just amped the level up to like 11.
Yeah. What was your most memorable moment with a person Tripp outside, maybe outside of playing a game?
Well, I was going to talk about my most. I think we've kind of changed it into more of a Nationals.
Well, I just brought up Nationals because it was one.
I know, but Nationals is the next part of the timeline. So,
but to talk about, well, when I was listening to Simon talk about Nationals, and I was thinking about what was my takeaway from Nationals, and I think my feeling about Nationals was I felt like I had reached the peak of what I could achieve on my current level of commitment to the game. In that I didn't test or
that's an understatement. You just
very much.
No, you did. You just went rolling.
And I just I picked up the Lightning Bride deck from the Calling, and I played 2 games against Shingo the night before on the Friday evening against his Dory. And
that was brilliant.
And then that was my experience with the deck going into the tournament. And while I'm very happy with how well I did, I finished 11th. It made me realize that I was like, if I want to do better, I need to increase the amount that I actually take this game seriously in terms of preparation. Because I go to tons of tournaments. People probably realize I go to a lot of tournaments.
You do.
I always play the game, but I don't really do much outside of the tournament setting. So I think Nationals was when I was really close to getting into the top 8 as well. And it kind of felt like if I had done any practice, I was going to say a slightly more practice, but I was like, if I'd done any practice at all, I might have made it because I just needed to win a bit more. But it was just that it was just a realization for me that I was like, and clearly, so my takeaway was I can play this game, and if this is how well I can do with this level of commitment, I feel like if I actually commit, it gave me a lot of validation that this was a game worth committing to. And so I was saying before, like Road to Nationals was when I felt like I want to play this game competitively, and Nationals was when I thought I can play this game competitively. Like, that doesn't, just FYI, that doesn't mean winning pro quests or winning pro tours, but it means playing well enough that it's worthwhile to keep pushing and keep trying and keep improving.
Yeah.
And it's going to take work. Like I was looking back at like how many times me and Simon played each other, and I didn't beat Simon in a game of Fab until May, I think.
No, that can't be right.
So I'm pretty sure it was. So I looked back the other day. So I was like, we played each other from November to May almost constantly, and it took 6 months for me to actually beat Simon.
And then when you beat
myself, you need to practice more. Simon sucks.
And then I thought to myself,
he's
like,
right.
if I can do that, I can. That was the point where, like, well, I can beat anyone, and that's the
just
kind of attitude that I want
to
take forward now. Is thinking, if you actually just keep playing and you keep practicing, you can just keep getting better and better and better, and that's kind of where I want to be now with the game.
I love that. I love that journey.
Seven pro quests is the plan at the moment.
7.
All right, don't jump ahead.
Yeah, that was my takeaway. Yeah.
Shin.
Before we move
Hang on.
on.
Whoa, we haven't had Shin's moment.
Oh, sorry, Shin was so involved in your moment. I got.
Yeah, we felt like
Shin's got his own.
Fuck
off. I had my one of my close moments, and I had some with everyone.
Well, you can't have another moment.
No, calm down, Shin.
It sounds like you're about to have another moment.
Come on.
Shin have a moment. You can't have two moments.
What was one of the takeaways that you had in Flesh and Blood that was not maybe game related? It might be Nationals related, whatever.
I'm gonna name a few moments actually. Sorry, I'm just gonna be quick about them.
Go, just go.
No, it is.
I don't care about the time. This is gonna be a long one.
So one of my moments, and I've mentioned this before, was the final with Simon at Bash and Derby.
Yeah.
Right. That was a big moment because we had played online.
I'd rather not remember that. It was terrible.
No, it wasn't a game, but it was a moment.
It was a good moment, yeah.
And it made me feel like, because I am a believer that Simon is one, if not the best player of Flesh and Blood in the UK.
Excuse me.
No, I stand by that. So playing him in the finals, I was just like, okay, this matchup is in my favor, but if I win, it kind of validates that I can do this in CC as well, right? Because it was, I had proven myself in Blitz. I had then heard Matt Rogers says that Blitz and CC is like checkers and chess. And I had a lot of insecurities about my CC gameplay. So winning that Road to Nats and playing Psy in the finals meant a lot. And so that was a big moment. And then we come to Nats, and I have a very different way to deal with stress, which is I just go in pure denial mode. I just like shut down emotionally.
No, you look at your way of dealing with it is to stare them down and look fucking furious.
That's just me shutting down.
You're like this.
That's just me poker facing it.
Podcasting. Your brows are angry. You're dead staring.
I'm not angry or anything. I'm just like fully poker faced and focusing.
I love it.
But I came to Nationals and I was like, even if I completely whiff, at least it would be a weekend with people with who I've been interacting for the majority of a year. It's going to be a nice time and it's going to be great. And then I ended up performing, and the first moment at Nats I had was playing Dan the night before Nats, as he said, 2 games of Dorian to Briar. Now, what Dan doesn't realize is those 2 games literally decided which deck I was taking in. Until that moment, I had no clue that I was going to make the switch from Dory to Lightning Briar, and him nearly defeating me on his first 2 reps of the deck. I was like, okay, this is not happening. I'm taking Lightning Briar with me. And then
so that was the moment you had with Dan.
Yeah. Then I had a moment with the rest of our testing group, which is after the top 8, I come out and Sai is still having his game. Hamish is still having his game, right? And obviously I'm rooting for you guys, but I have nervous energy now. I'm in the top 4. So I walk out, and the rest of the testing group is coming in as they saw on stream that Simon's game is almost done. And they asked me how it went, and I said I won. And there was this huge shout and a group hug that was not very social distanced, but I was wearing my mask, so I was happy. And it was just a very surreal moment that I wasn't expecting at how much was happening at just making top 4. And so that was a big moment for me. And then there was our game, Hamish, which was another moment that I lost in CC because we had been practicing with your Viserai deck, right? And you were terrified of my Dory deck. And you were like, oh, maybe I won't bring Viserai, blah, blah, blah. Even though
I had to say no, I was always taking Viserai.
I know. But part of me was always telling you should take Viserai. And then you beat me, and it was very bittersweet because I was happy for you, and I was happy that Viserai was performing. But then I just had a round 2 loss, and I had to deal with that, or round 3 loss.
It was round 3.
Yeah.
I remember all my games. I tell you what, Shin, your game was like, I actually have no idea what I did to beat you. And I think the only thing I can remember is that all my defense reactions rocked up.
Mm-hmm. That helped. And then I had a moment with Dyson, which was my game on stream, and it was actually win and in for the draft, except we didn't realize it was a win and in. It had to do with tiebreakers, so it was a game before Simon did unholy things to me. And it was on stream, and I've always said I'm a terrible drafter, and Dyson and I had actually gone for breakfast that morning, and we were talking each other up, and then of course we're facing each other in the first game, and he's so confident in his draft, and I'm feeling so not confident in mine, and my deck just high rolled like it had no business doing, and I ended up winning that game. And like he did for you, he was like very happy for me. He was like, you made it in, it's great, and he was very encouraging.
You just beat him, and then I beat him, and it was just like I was so like his Swiss performance was like he was probably he was ahead of me on the tables. Like he was in our testing group the highest placed like player out of day one, and to see him not make top 8 just like empathetically destroyed me.
Yep.
It was rough,
and
but that's
how happy he was for the rest of us does mean a lot and says a lot about him as a person.
Massive shout out to Dyson, man. He's a guy.
He's a constant motivation, and he loves brewing his own decks, and he loves pushing people, and he loves being positive, and he just brings such a good aura to the group, right?
I shout him out as one of the top players in the UK, big time. Like if it has to be someone that is going to, if you're going to test up against anyone in our group, he like there's rarely a handful of people in the testing group that you actually think, oh my god, he's going to absolutely annihilate me. And Dyson is one of the guys that you actually think, Christ, this guy is going to absolutely suplex you through the table. He brings the fear of God into me. Whenever I play against him, because he's a phenomenal player. When I was playing up against him in the draft, I was like, I'm gonna get clapped. I don't know what came over me, but I played pretty good. I don't know what happened. So
and it's it's these emotional moments which is what makes competitive play so addictive. I remember coming away out of the nationals and thinking, I had like about half an hour back in my hotel room where I was so close to top 8, and then after that half an hour, I remember thinking to myself, this was the best weekend of my life.
Yeah,
like it was like I had reached that arc of like I struggled, I played, I had these highs, and I had this ended up this sort of bittersweet ending, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. Like because it was that weekend.
So I was talking to my wife about the same thing, and I was looking forward at the pro quests and saying like, I want to be able to go to this one, because I want to give my best chance of getting to the pro tour. And she said, but you felt terrible around nationals. Like, why would you want to do that again? And I said, because that makes me feel awesome. Like the after effects of it
makes you feel alive.
Makes you feel incredible, and the nerves and the adrenaline, they might make you feel odd in the moment, but the takeaway from that event was, and the result helped as well, but the takeaway from that event was just on another level, and you can't describe that feeling.
I think I think that helps because you're part of a team, right? Because I think that also really helps boost that as well. Like this. Like for me, I'm thinking like there's 3 of us here that did make the top 8, and Dan, to be honest with you, like I think the top 8 part of it is so tight that like when you get like I know that feeling from a road to national perspective when all 3 of you got into the top 8s and the top 4s in the road to nationals, and I was just so out of the cut. It's because it's so cutthroat. Like it's just that one win from rounds ago that just hasn't helped you get to that point.
Yeah, it's just the order of the way you win. Yeah. But I just want to say like just because obviously you guys all made the top 8, and I can just assure you that like even if you, and for anybody else out there that's listening who's thinking of going to these kind of events and is worried about not doing well or not making the top 8 or not winning or whatever. Just treat the weekend as an experience in your life and judge it based on that experience. And it honestly was incredible. And just encapsulate it and move on and think, what can I learn from this experience and move on? And it was just so good. Even like, because that wasn't the time for me to get into the top 8, and that's fine because now I'm just going to go to the next one and do better. And that's all you can ever do is just keep improving and keep playing.
Yeah, and at worst you spent 150 quid on a hotel and you've had an awesome weekend.
Yeah, and I got
friends,
250 quid back for the price.
I know, the thing is, I was even looking at Nats going like, all I want to do is make day 2, and if I can get to day 2 then I'll see what I can do, right? But in my head I was like, well, I really want to make top 8, but you know, sometimes it's just how the days roll. You know, there was a lad at Living Realms. Oh, I forgot his name. I really do apologise. And he got into the top 8. And he got into the top 8 because on the last round he beat me. And he rocked up just going, I don't really know what to expect. I was playing chain. And, you know, sometimes you can just... The day can just roll your way, you know. And don't, you know... I think that's a lot of time... that's the point I was trying to make, Tripp. Where you kind of get... too hung up on a result, and sometimes the result is a massive element of luck. You know, I beat Simon with 5 dominated turns back to back. That's just pretty darn lucky. I beat Shin because I managed to get some defense reactions on cue when I needed it. That's pretty darn lucky. Sometimes you just got to roll with the luck that's just presented. But I think you've encapsulated that whole thing pretty well. You roll with the luck and you just enjoy the day.
We should go on to...
What's hot and what's not. Cool. Thank you so much, Buglugs.
Wow, that was really good. We totally heard it at the time. And
it is the...
we're in... it's the what's hot, what's not segment. We're going to go through all the heroes and tell you whether we think they're hot or not. We've not really had much of a to lead into this, but we're going to try our hardest to give our opinions.
All right, we'll go through.
Who's got the list?
Yeah, we'll
Simon,
go from the welcome to Rafe.
We're going to start with Katsu.
Yeah. Okay, not hot.
I'm going to say he's at his least hottest for a while. I would say.
Yeah, no,
but I do think that Ninja is going to get serious support in 2022, and I think he will come back.
I don't know what that's going to look like.
I agree with Dan. I'm on a not hot for now.
Yeah. Oh no! God, this is the thing, isn't it? Like, you know, so
next hero.
Fucking
no, next hero.
Oh no! What about Simon?
Yeah, he's not hot.
Oh, sorry.
I love my boy Katsu. I really love him to bits, but he's not hot right now.
He's not hot right now. All right, okay. Who's next?
Reinar.
Oh, you know, I've been thinking long and hard about Reinar. Reinar is got one of those sort of I don't think he'll ever be. I think he'll always be in the position he's always in, purely because he's got nothing. But any of his attacks do nothing about interacting with the player, right? You know, when you look at Briar, everything is like, oh yeah, if I hit you, I'll draw a card. If I hit you, it's more damage, all this sort of stuff. But Reiner just goes, I just hit you. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing about, so what? Who cares? And I think he'll forever be in this boat of, oh, he's pretty decent, but he's not very good. And I think
is he hot or not, Hamish? That's the question.
Yeah, come on, Hamish. We've got how many heroes? Can't be going off on like this.
I'm also gonna say the same thing about Levy as well. But
not hot or not. Sharif.
No, you know, I'm gonna go with not
the
hot.
thing is, I agree with everything Hamish said, and that's why it's not hot.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I also agree.
If Everfest gives him some hit, some non-attack action card that gives him something. Because if you hit, I discard, a card from the.
Yeah,
he's not hot.
You know, something. If he hits, something happens. He'll be good.
Shin, lead us off. Is Dorinthia hot or not?
As much as it pains me to say, not hot. In Blitz, she's flaming hot.
She's not hot.
In CC, she's not
in Blitz
hot
at the moment. Yeah.
We forgot to mention this is CC perspective.
Yeah, she's not hot in CC right now. All right, Tripp, you've played a bit of this. Give us Bravo, hot or not?
Bravo is hot, I would say. I do think it's a tricky one. I'm going to say Bravo is hot. Bravo made top 2 at UK Nationals and therefore is hot. That was the last big competitive event and he made the final, so hot by definition.
I agree. Bravo's hot.
Yeah, I think he's hot. He's got the ability to activate Dominate on command. Mm-hmm. So that makes him hot and he's got on-hit effects that are crushing. Literally.
Yeah. Literally crushing.
Yeah.
So only one hero from Welcome to Wraith is hot.
He's been having tools since he came out. So
and Terra Sunder is an amazing card.
Literally this set is going to be another. He's been getting stuff every set. He's always good.
Hamish, your boy, Viserai,
tier 1,
not?
Tier 1, tier 1, tier 1, tier 1. That's all.
Is that hot or is that not?
Of course, he's bloody hot.
Do you understand the format, Hamish? He's not tier whatever. It's a simple question.
Hot or not?
Of course, he's bloody hot.
Okay, great.
He's hot, mate. He's so underrepresented. It's unreal.
Yeah. I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to say not hot. I'm sorry.
What? Oh, you're an idiot.
No, you can't argue.
How did you get
on the podcast? Come on.
Absolutely. He is right at the edge. No. I'll tell you why. I'll explain why. He is right at the edge of hot. The only thing that takes him out of hot is the amount of reps and the amount of lines that are open to you when you play him. This is me complimenting you, Hamish. He is a very difficult deck to master, and it just takes him right under hot.
Tripp, hot or not?
I would say he's hot, but I do agree with what Sharif's saying. I think I would put him in hot though. I think Rune Blades at the moment are the hottest they've ever been. So I think
I would say
thanks to Creepers and Rosetta.
Yeah,
I would say we can't. If we're saying hot or not, we can't take into account the players' reps. Like he's either a hot potential or not potential, and I think he's hot potential.
He's hot.
Oh, he's tier 1, mate.
Kano.
Well, at the moment, hot because he got his first big tournament win. So I think if we're ever going to give Kano hot, it has to be now because he won Italian Nationals.
Kano is such a weirdo,
and I'm willing to give him a hot for that. I think that's fair. I don't know if it will last, but right now I'm going to say he's hot.
Kano is as hot as the amount of null runes you've got.
Yeah.
If you've got inversely none, proportional. He is so hot. Yeah. If you got loads, he's trash. He's so weird. But sod it. I'll give him hot. It's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
I'll still say not hot.
Shingo?
I'm saying not hot either.
Fair enough.
Cruel bastard.
Yeah, because you guys bring Norwood and me.
If I can't give Dorinthia hot, I'm not going to be generous with other heroes.
Kano is so much hotter than Dorinthia. Right, next one.
Dash.
Next one, Simon.
Dash.
Ooh, I think she's hot.
I just think no. We always say this. I'm not seeing it.
No, she's hot, man. She's so good.
I disagree with Dan. I think she's hot as well.
I don't think she is. I think we always say this. We say, oh, she's but she's on the same level as like like Katsu at the moment.
No, it's a good not even close.
It's a good deck, but it's
I
not
will say
winning.
this, a quick look backstage. Right now, most of my training reps are on Dash. That's my belief that she's hot.
Yeah.
I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
She's got an engine that is so good. Anyway, Simon.
I think Dash is perpetually hot.
Yeah. Ooh.
Maybe I'm missing the tournament that she won.
It's not all about the tournament. Sometimes a
all
deck
about
can
the
just
tournament.
Which tournament did Viserai win?
Behind it. Anyway, so we're going to move on to
Azalea. Hot or
whatever.
not?
No, let's not waste our breath with her. Right, moving on.
Oh,
no, she's
not
shit.
hot.
Not hot.
Nah, no, she's not. She's gone past not hot. She's shit. Right, so let's Tripp.
Wow.
She's trash.
No, she's not hot.
She's trash. She's just pure crap.
No, but there's no point in
I
adding
can't even
fuel to the
envision
fire.
a world
Come
where
on.
she'll be good.
All right, Prism.
Oh, hot.
Pretty shit, isn't she?
No. Maybe I'm looking forward. Like, so this is my.
Nah, Prism's alright. Prism's good. Not hot. Again, I want to put Prism under the very high potential because I always say this. Prism is like a couple of cards away from being absolutely broken.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on this Prism. Everfest Prism tier 1.
Yeah, I think I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. It depends, obviously, depending if they print the card, but I think the potential is really.
But if
really
we're basing this on right now,
yeah, not hot.
not that hot.
Not hot.
Not hot.
Not a big fan of
Jake,
Prism.
this one's for you. Not hot.
Okay, moving on.
Bolton.
Oh,
Your boy
No.
Hamish. Come on.
not hot. His play strategy is too linear. That's the problem with him.
I do like Saber's Bolt.
No.
I really hate it, and maybe that's why I love it so much.
Because
I never play it, but like
No,
there's something
it's
about
trash.
that deck that I kind of like that it's in the game. I don't know why. Like,
can we-
it's
You
an
know what?
interesting one.
I agree with that. I kind of like the fact
Yeah.
that this strategy is in the game, but it's just shit.
It
one.
adds a little
But-
bit of
So
spice to what's going on. I don't
Not
think
hot.
I would. Yeah, no,
Well, he's not
it's
hot.
not spicy enough to give him a
I'm gonna
hot,
put him
but
at lukewarm. I think combo decks are innately different
classic.
to.
Classic.
It is, though.
Get out of this damn Tripp cup.
The classic
Get away.
lukewarm
Here-
rating.
Come on, we need
I love
decisiveness.
But
it.
we
I
all
do it
had
all
to
the
think
time.
We
about
need
it, right?
decisiveness.
None of us went directly to not hot, and none of us went directly to hot. I feel like that says something.
I did go directly to not hot.
He is
It's
not hot. I
terrible.
can tell you straight. He's got a combo or aggression, and he's not even good at aggression, and his combo's trash. So he's
Okay.
not good.
Depending on how you want to pronounce this, Levia.
Levia. Oh, it's
Levia.
Levia.
It's Levia.
It's Levia.
Right, hot or not?
Same as Reiner.
Agreed.
Same as Reiner. It's not hot. Needs some on hit effects.
Not hot.
I'm gonna say not hot because I've been called out about my lukewarm rating. So I'll just go with that. No, I do think we're gonna get
Simon.
more played from the banished zone support in Everfest, and that may change things.
Chain.
Hot.
I think Chain is hot. Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think
Shingo,
It's-
you're never gonna be on this
it's
podcast again if you say she's
I
not
said hot. No, I
If you-
agree.
Oh, wait, we're talking about.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
hot.
we're
Oh,
talking
thank
about
God.
No,
I was going to
agree.
say,
I
you living
think
under a
people
rock.
are coming around to the high skill ability of Chain now that Seeds is gone, of like counting your deck and pitch stacking in very precise order. And I think that adds a layer to the game that we didn't have as much before in CC. And, I don't know if I would bring Chain personally for a long event tournament, because counting your deck constantly can be a bit of a drag and can be very, tiresome, and then can get you called out on cast as one of our Canadian.
If only we knew someone who got called out on.
But definitely hot. Yeah.
Hot or not? Yeah, hot from me. He's super hot, in fact. Like, white hot. Lexi.
Even though I literally just got beat by a Death Dealer Lexi right before, I'm actually gonna go with not hot. I think she was hot. I think she was hot right at Nat started because she countered Briar so well. But I think just in general, looking at the whole meta, not hot.
I say she's hot, right? I don't know.
You don't sound so sure.
I don't know. Rangers in a weird spot of where, like, they're not the ones setting the tone.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones kind of reacting. If you can get a Ranger deck that can react to what's going on, then yeah, cool. If not, But right now, she's in a pretty alright spot with the lightning.
Sounds like a pretty.
The ice Lexi stuff.
That sounds like a pretty lukewarm answer there.
Oh, fuck it, not hot.
I think she's not hot. I think the ice Lexi stuff has done better by Oldhim. I think there's really. I think that snapshot Lexi actually has quite a lot of potential. I think it could get better, but I don't think right now I would consider Lexi hot. That's my view.
Fair.
So I think Ice is done better by Oldhim. I think Snapshot is done better by Lightning Briar. I think not.
Might be right there. Yeah, that's fair actually.
But
anyway, well, we already at the fucking we're getting our way through this really quickly.
Oldhim.
Yeah. Oldhim is as hot as a cold man can be.
I like Oldhim, but
I want to put him as a very tepid hot. How about that?
A tepid
hot.
That's not even a word. A tepid hot.
You're just trying to get around the word lukewarm.
It's slightly above lukewarm, as he makes it in the realm of hot, but he is the lowest one in the hot realm.
I think Oldham's pretty hot. I think he's the fatigue master.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain decks that can smash him, but I think if there's a hero that is going to put people like Briar on ice, I think Briar was one of the first sort of, or maybe we'll move on to Briar very shortly. But he is the guy that is going to put super hyper aggro decks in their place. So I like the fact that he exists, and I say he's hot.
Dan, sorry.
He's hot for me. He's hot.
Okay. Then we'll move on to Briar.
Wait, have we not? Shin, have you said the?
What?
I said hot.
No, Shin said the hottest of the coldest of the hot people. Briar, come on then. Elemental Runeblade, Briar.
Not hot.
Briar's hot.
No,
hot, super hot.
Not hot. Not
Earth
hot.
Briar is really hot.
I would actually say hybrid
Other
Briar.
forms of Briar
Hybrid
are
Briar.
not hot.
Briar's too popular, man. Figure it out. Trash.
Briar is really hot.
So she is hot, and she has multiple ways of approaching said meta. It will be interesting to see where she goes, but currently she's hot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say a huge thank you to Shingo for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It was interesting to see.
And I want to say a big thank you to. Sorry.
No,
I just want
to say it was nice to see how the sausage was made. It was very interesting to see the backstage of this.
I would say normally it's a lot cleaner than this. I want to say a huge thank you to Hamish, who edits this podcast every 2 weeks, I guess, for the last 17 sets of 2 weeks.
Lockdown's been kind to the edit.
Well, we wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for Hamish, because the editing of the audio is the hardest part by far. And just want to give him a big shout out for Christmas. And just, it's been a great experience being part of this podcast in 2021. And a huge thank you to everyone who has supported us, subscribed on Patreon, subscribed to the YouTube channel. We just want to make more content. We just want to keep talking about this game. We want to keep making these podcasts and just talking about random crap with you guys. So just stick with us and we'll keep making more stuff.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Simon, for showing up with the post-it notes and writing stuff.
Thanks, Simon, for giving us
direction,
5 bullet points to go with. He's holding up the bullet points right now. It's a very small piece of paper, but I think if we didn't have that, every single podcast would be just
we're fucked.
A mess.
We would be so fucked. It's unreal. But go have a listen to episode 1. Honestly, go back and have a listen to episode 1 and hear us nervously trying to work out what we want to be. And now it's quite a journey. But yeah, honestly, Chin, like Dan said, Thank you so much, Shim, for joining us on this sausage fest. And thank you, Simon. Thank you, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye!
I didn't even know what you said.
I didn't even know what that was.
No, but I will when I edit it. Bye.
Goodbye.